Front row here, left-hand side.
Steve, John Dickinson, 95.7 The Game. What did you think of the hustle plays, rebounding, and defense for you guys, and how that really impacted the outcome of the game?
Yeah, I mean, our guys competed like crazy, and so did their guys, obviously. I mean, it's just, basketball at its highest level, along with competition at the highest level. So it's intense out there, and both teams are just fighting for everything, and it's a great way for us to start the series because as hard as we played, we didn't play that intelligently, and our guys know that, and we've got some things to clean up before game 2, but a good start.
Third row middle.
Coach Kerr, Tony Harvey, Sacramento Observer. Well, Houston, 4 of their starters have 36 or more minutes, but your players, 34 or more minutes, with Kevin playing 43. Were you prepared for a game like this after the turnover from Friday night?
Prepared for the game. Oh, prepared for our starters to play this many minutes. This is the playoffs. We try to pace our guys all season, but you get to the playoffs, you got to do what you got to do, and so I know we ran Kevin and Clay extra minutes. We gave them 5-6 minutes more than we usually do, but that's what you got to do. You got to play your best players and see what happens, and they can get rest for the next 48 hours.
Steve, Tim Kawakami, The Athletic, right over here. When did you know for sure Clay could go? And I guess you didn't have any minutes restriction if he's playing 40 minutes. Was there any sense that, okay, you might have to back off a little? And when did you know you didn't have it?
So Rick called me last night and said Clay had made improvement yesterday evening, and then he told me he was going to come in and warm up today. And after the warm-up, Rick said he's good to go. I said, is there a minutes restriction? And Rick said, we'll just see how it goes during the game. So obviously Clay did fine, and in terms of the ankle. And I think you guys know just how competitive and how tough he is. He plays through everything. So hopefully he turns out okay, tonight, tomorrow, and is able to continue to heal before the next game.
Steve, Joe Morgan, Sporting News. Harden had 35, but he did it on 9 of 28 shooting. Can you just talk about what you saw defensively from you guys on him?
Well, I thought our guys did a great job. He's so hard to guard with that step back, with his ability to get to the rim. So you just have to do your best and try not to foul him. He got 14 free throws, but I couldn't be more happy with the effort, the focus. It's a 5-man game when you're guarding James. It's not about just the one guy who's on him. The other 4 guys have to be in the right spots to help. And I thought our defense was excellent tonight. What hurt our defense was our turnovers. That stretch at the end of the second quarter, we had a 10-point lead, and then we go in at halftime tied because we had 13 turnovers. There's no defense for transition shots off of turnovers, so that's what we've got to clean up. But other than that, we made them fight for every open look.
Second row, left-hand side.
Hi, Steve. Janie McCauley from AP. Draymond came up with several timely offensive rebounds. How much did his energy on both ends really kind of set a tone for you guys?
Yeah, Draymond was fantastic. That's the last 2 games. That's the guy he is. The emotion, the passion, the competitive desire, the brain. One of the smartest defenders I've ever seen. So Draymond was a huge instrumental part of the win, no doubt.
Hey, Steve. Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. What went into the decision to start Iguodala, and did part of it have to do with changing up Clay's assignments at all because of the ankle?
No, the decision to start Andre is just based on playing against Houston. You've got 2 of the best one-on-one and pick-and-roll players in the world in James and Chris, and Andre is one of the best defenders in the world. So, that's our best lineup. We decided to start it just so we could have Andre out there defensively, and we'll probably do it again next game.
Coach Brian Bearfield, KYK Sports. You played with some of the best and against some of the best. Have you ever seen anybody have a great 4-game stretch like Kevin is having?
There's this guy named Michael something. Can't remember his last name. But no, Kevin's run these last couple weeks, it's just been off the charts. I've said it a few times this week. I mean, he's the most skilled basketball player on earth. He's one of the most skilled basketball players to ever play the game. There's never been anybody like him. 6'11", handles ball, shoots threes, passes, defends. He's just an unbelievable talent. And I think after we lost game 2 to the Clippers, I think he just felt, like he just had to turn it up and lift us up another level, and that's exactly what he's done.
Third row, right-hand side.
Steve, Connor Letourneau, San Francisco Chronicle. Kind of building off that, the bulk of Durant's points came when it seemed like you guys really needed him in the third and fourth quarters. What can you say at this point about his awareness of giving you guys exactly what you need when you need it?
Well, he's been around for a long time, and when you play in the playoffs, the shots get tougher and tougher. Regular season, it's almost 2 different games, because everybody's prepared for everything. So it's just much harder to get a shot. So Kevin can get his own shot anytime he wants. It's what makes him so impossible to guard. So he understands what we need from him, and he's been delivering, game after game.
Stand back, left-hand side.
Coach Logan Murdoch, NBC Sports Bay Area. You talked about Harden's free throws. He had 14. Do you think that when you go into a game, do you see it as inevitable that he will get to the line a certain amount of time, or do you kind of want to get that down to a certain number as attempts?
It's going to be tough to keep him way down, but I think when we watch the tape, we'll see some plays where we reached, and you have to be very disciplined. He's so clever, creating fouls, creating contact, and you have to be able to play, without putting your hand in the cookie jar. And so we did that a few times, but he's so good, he's going to get fouled, and he's going to get to the line no matter what you do.
CJ Peterson, San Francisco Examiners. Steve, seems like every one of these postseason games, Steph has been in foul trouble. For one, how hard does that make your job as a coach as far as your rotations go? And 2, how do you fix that problem and kind of, get him out of that habit of, reaching and getting those fouls?
Well, when we were in LA and he picked up his 4th foul, I asked him, I said, Steph, where's your mom? And he pointed up about 10 rows behind the bench. And I looked up and made eye contact with Sonia, and I said, tell him not to foul anymore. So if his mom can't get through to him, I'm definitely not going to get through to him. So I'm going to maybe try Dell this time. Try Dad.
Front row center.
Steve, Mark Medina, Bay Area News Group. What was it like just handling a game where there's the constant stoppage of play with calls and, both teams are disputing the nature of them?
It didn't seem any different to me than any other game. I mean, it's high level competitive stuff. You just keep going no matter what happens. And I didn't think it was. I didn't think of any stoppages in play. I just think that's how the game goes.
Last one, right-hand side, about 6th row back.
Colin Ward-Henninger, CBS Sports. You talked about the familiarity between these two teams. It seemed like, at least in the first half, the game was a little choppy, a little hard to get going on both sides. Did you see that, and do you think that the familiarity had anything to do with it?
Yeah, we've faced these guys 3 of the last 4 years in the playoffs. Obviously, last year, a 7-game series, 4 more regular season games. So both teams know each other well. So it's going to be tough to surprise anybody with strategy. It's all about execution, and for us, that's got to start with taking better care of the ball in game 2. Thanks, everybody.
For any of those